This is Stein North with Wilderness Thriving Fundamentals, and we're back with another quick little informative video. This video we're going to talk about pack it in, pack it out. Well, I know you've all heard that term before. If you're going to pack it in, pack it out. Well, I think what we need to keep in mind is packing it in and packing it out can be taken to an extreme. I fully support those that want to preserve and keep our wilderness pristine. I worked years ago with a drilling company. We did exploratory drilling for mining. The pack it in, pack it out thing went so far as even our human waste, when we had to go to the restroom, all had to be packed out. We were so far up in the backcountry we had to be flown in, and if we were practicing appropriate latrine practices, packing out people's excrement was not even reasonable, let alone necessary. So it can be taken to an extreme. However, the only reason I'm doing this video is just even recently, I was taking a long hike through the woods. I was out shaga hunting, and I was a few miles away from camp. And out in the middle of the forest, in an area that had absolutely no evidence of ever being homesteaded or ever having any kind of large human impact, I came across a quite large pile of glass jars, bottles, tin cans, and close to that spot I found another large pile of beer cans. Very large pile of beer cans, matter of fact, probably 30, 40 beer cans. Now, what are they doing way out in the middle of nowhere, sitting on top of the ground, distracting from the beauty of the area? It's just trash. It doesn't belong there. I found out later that that was a spot in which some local people of the area like to hike in, and they'd hike in for the weekend, and they would party out there, and they'd camp overnight. Now, it's quite a ways in for doing that kind of thing. I don't know why they chose that spot. But what they would do is they'd haul in things in glass, they'd haul things in cans, canned foods, and they'd haul beer in, and they'd consume all of that, and then they'd leave that trash behind. Now, I don't understand why that trash couldn't have been taken out with them, because for one thing, they ate all the contents, and they drank all the contents, so now their load is maybe 1/5 of the weight they carried in. So if they were able to carry it in, why didn't they carry it out? Instead, they left it behind and left a very unattractive mess in the middle of a very pristine, beautiful forest. Now, when we go out here at Camp Wilderness Thriving Fundamentals, our frame of mind in going out for extended periods of time, we may be taking all of our foodstuffs with. We may not. It might be a time of year there's nothing you can gather to speak of. There's no way you're going to sustain yourself without a lot of effort. So we pack our food with us. And we usually use commercial trail foods. You know, they come in Mylar containers or packages, and you just add water to them, reconstitute them, and there's your meal. So I looked into Mylar and found that you can burn it. It takes a very high temperature. You can burn it in your fire pit. And the gases that it emits are equivalent to the gases of a Douglas fir. So if you cut down a Douglas fir tree and burnt that, you're going to have about the same gases as you would burning a Mylar package. The difference is Mylar, it takes so much heat for it to actually burn down to where the end product, it no longer looks man-made. So it's really hard to dispose of by burning. So, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, others might see otherwise, I like to take like a gallon Ziploc plastic bag and take the empty Mylar bags, get all the air out of them, fold them up small, put them inside that Ziploc bag, get the air out, zip it shut. Now you've eliminated the odor, so you don't have to worry about animals so much. And you're packing it back out. You could pack out a couple dozen of those Mylar bags and you're still only talking a couple of ounces of weight. So there's no reason to struggle with trying to burn your Mylar bags while out in the wilderness. On another note, a lot of trail foods come in sealed plastic packages. There's pre-made foods that you don't, all you have to do is heat it. People get these plastic packages that have that pre-made food in it, and then open them up, dump them in their field pot, their camp pot, and heat it up and eat it. It's great. It's a little heavy to carry in. Prepared foods are always heavy to carry, but it's good food. If you're only going out for 3 days, you might want to carry that little extra weight. But again, in my opinion, squeeze out the remainder of the food if you didn't finish it all. Burn it in your fire pit. The food, not the plastic container. Please do not be burning your plastic in your fire pits. All plastics should be, like I said with the Mylar, rolled up, put in a gallon bag, and brought back out with you. There's no sense in burning that in the fire pit because, for one thing, many times plastic does not completely burn down. So you're leaving that plastic residue out there in a fire pit for somebody to have to stumble across. Plus, it emits a lot of nasty gases. You should not be breathing it. The environment doesn't need that added contamination. And someone hiking through a pristine wilderness area, if they smell a wood fire, it's actually enjoyable to smell somebody's campfire. But not if it's black smoke from plastic. So pack it out. Another item is paper. So many people look at paper containers as it's all burnable. For the most part, they are. A lot of your paper goods you can go ahead and burn. Some paper things are coated. Now, if you have a container that's coated and has a lot of dyes and colors in it, it may be coated with a very thin film of plastic. It's like a potato chip bag. It may be Mylar on the inside, but it's coated with a plastic coating on the outside. And it's got a lot of dye in it, the paints in it, for the coloring, for the advertising. The plastic outer coating and the dyes in the paint, again, put off a very toxic gas. You should not be burning those in your fire pit, and they don't properly disintegrate just like my mylar. They just don't burn up well. Again, pack it out. There's no weight involved, no weight at all. All there is your mindset to keep the forest clean. My argument to pack it out is, if it's not going to go back to nature quickly and efficiently, take it out, bring it back with you, and dispose of it when you get home, or to where there's a dumpster you can put it in. But don't leave it in the woods. I don't want to trip over it. I don't want to see candy wrappers blowing down a remote trail. I don't want to see cigarette butts all over the ground. And that's another thing. I'll touch on that for just a second. Cigarette butts. I am a smoker. I've smoked all of my adult life. I do not leave cigarette butts in the wilderness. I put my cigarette out, typically on the ground or the bottom of my boot. I make sure the cigarette butt is cold, and I put it in my pocket. Many reasons for that. Cigarette butts start more wildfires than anything you could imagine. People just flicking a cigarette off in the woods. They're hours away, and the next thing you know, there's a fire started where they flicked that cigarette. Cigarette butts on a wilderness trail. You're out in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful country. And there's cigarette butts all over the trail. It's disgusting. It's not necessary. I'm a smoker and I see it as disgusting. So take your cigarette butts home with you and dispose of them properly. And or, though that is one item you could burn in your fire pit. But make sure they're totally burned up. Don't just throw them all around the edge of your fire pit and say, well, that's good. I found fire pits that looked more junky and garbage-like than my own garbage can. They had so much unburnt debris around them that you might as well have just thrown it all over camp. So, anything that you take in with you, you should bring back. Take consumables that when you consume it, the packaging is light and takes up no space, and you can bring it back home with you. Be nice to Mother Nature. Do us all a favor, and if you pack it in, please pack it out. Let's keep our wilderness just that, wilderness, not a reflection of how we can just be irresponsible and throw our garbage all over the place. So thank you from Stein North and all of us here at Wilderness Thriving Fundamentals. And keep watching. Hit the like button. Leave some comments. We're open to them all. We're not perfect. And yes, like I said, a lot of these things are my opinion. Many people think other ways. But we're just trying to look out for our wilderness and for the rest of us. Please subscribe to our channel and stay in touch and follow us. This is Stein North checking out. You all have a nice day.